Hi friends, welcome to the channel of Unacademy CA Final. So today we'll be starting with the subject Advanced Auditing and Professional Ethics. I will be talking to you about the subject and a topic called as Audit of CFS. Audit of Consolidated Financial Statement. Audit of Consolidated Financial Statements. Average weightage of this topic is 4 to 6 marks from exam point of view. Now, before we proceed further, let me introduce to you about myself. I am Abhishek Bansal, Chartered Accountant, Company Secretary, MBA and graduate from Mumbai. I will be coming on this channel of Unacademy, and the entire lecture would be on the Unacademy app. So you have to subscribe to the app, you have to download the app and take a plan to get access to the all lectures. Few quick bites, important stuff, amendments, more exam patterns, quizzes would be definitely on this channel, but the entire session would be on the Unacademy app. So in case if you do not know how to download it, go to Google Store or iOS Store, download Unacademy app, install it and subscribe to your plan as per you can see it on the screen. So when you click on subscription, you will get different kinds of plan as per your choice, as per your duration. Whatever plan you want to subscribe, you can subscribe it, and in case you want more discount, you can use the code ABHICA. ABHICA. So you can use the code and you will get discount on that. So it's a request, subscribe to this channel for updates, bites, more revision lectures on this channel, and for all the detailed lectures of all the 8 subjects of CA Final, download the app. So we are in CA Final. We will be appearing for Group 1, paper number 3, that talks about Advanced Auditing and Professional Ethics. 100 marks paper. Very interesting, very easy subject. Advanced Auditing and Professional Ethics, 100 marks paper. But guys, the paper doesn't come for 100 marks. It comes approximately for 120 marks. Paper comes for 120 marks. So in this video, we'll be discussing about the subject, the intro and our first topic, intro. So when you talk about audit, you have already studied this in your inter or your IPCC if you were in old course. But when you come to CA Final, the approach changes in totality. Now, the subject is basically divided into 4 parts. First, we'll talk on company audit, which is closely linked to the chapters of your IPCC or your inter CA. The chapter name was, you have studied already this chapter, accounts of company, auditors, dividend, CARO and investigation. These 5 topics approximately constitute your 16 to 20 marks of your paper. 16 to 20 marks of your paper. Accounts of company, dividend, auditors, CARO and investigation. Investigation, 80% of the chapter you study in your CA Final law. It is exactly same. Only 20% is little extra out here. Number 2 topic is your professional ethics. Professional ethics comes approximately for 16 marks. Number 3 would be your other chapters, which involves corporate governance, insurance audit, audit of consolidated financial statement, peer review, PSU audit, bank audit, internal financial controls and internal financial controls reporting, IFC and ICFR. Then new syllabus, people. There's one more topic called as NBFC. Then there are few topics which are only for new syllabus. Automated environment, forensic audit and quality review. These 3 topics are only for new syllabus. If you are old syllabus, instead of these 3 topics, you will be having 2 topics: cost audit and cooperative society audit. Cost audit and cooperative society audit. The first 3 are for new syllabus and the other 2 are for your old syllabus. Rest everything is same. Few 3-4 more small topics are there which will cover approximately your 50 to 60 marks of your paper. 50 to 60 marks of your paper. Point number 4 or the topic number 4 would be your standards on audit, which will constitute approximately 20 to 25 marks. This is your syllabus, guys. This is your syllabus. So it's company audit approximately 16 to 20 marks, professional ethics 16 marks, corporate governance, insurance, bank audit, NBFC, peer review, quality review, forensic audit, automated environment, and few 3-4 more small topics will constitute approximately 50 to 60 marks of your paper, and standards auditing around 20 to 25 marks of your paper. Now, when you talk about 100 marks paper, our subject is divided into 70 marks and 30 marks. 70 will constitute your pure theory and 30 marks is your MCQ. So MCQ could be for 1 mark also, MCQ could be for 2 marks also. So close to 13-14 questions you will see on MCQ. Guys, this has to be your forte. This has to be your strongest part. This is the scoring part. If your concepts are clear, for sure you can get 30 on 30, but your target should be at least to get 25. See, when you aim for getting 25, 26, you will land around 22, 23. In case if your concepts are very clear, you can definitely get 30 marks also. In case if you target out here, for example, 40 to 50 marks I should get it in my theory. 40 to 50 marks I should get it in my theory, and let us assume 20 to 25 marks if I get here, I am for sure exemption plus. For sure 60 plus marks. And yes, you can definitely get exemption in your CA final audit. So guys, this was your subject into. It's easy, it's interesting, it is scoring. The only part here is it is theory. There are few chapters where you have to mug it up because those are technical chapters. Chapter called as automated environment. It's fully technical. You have to mug it up by heart. But there are other chapters also which are like easy, conceptual, where you can understand and write the answer. The next question arises, sir, what about the language? Can we write it in our own words? Yes, definitely you can write it in your own words. Who is stopping you? But make sure you cover all your points. All your points. Answer has to be in point form. Answers has to be in point form. It is not an essay writing competition where you write paragraphs. Your every answer should be in point form. Important words should be highlighted, should be underlined by the same ink which you are using. Second question arises here is, sir, what about the time? I will not be able to finish off the paper. Guys, that is completely a wrong answer or a wrong strategy. You should first concentrate your first 2 hours on the theory part. I should keep a target to wind up my theory part by 4 o'clock. I should be able to complete in my 2 hours the entire 70 marks paper. Last 1 hour, I will give it for my MCQ. See, when you aim for like 2 hours finishing, you can wind up around 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2 hours, 20 minutes. This is 30 marks MCQ, close to 13-14 questions would be there. Even if you give 2 minutes to one MCQ, assuming there are 15 questions, in half an hour you can you can finish off your entire MCQ. So you have to strategize. Now, we will be doing theory, we'll be doing questions, we'll also be doing MCQs. When you're doing MCQ, most of the students have a habit of ticking the answers in the notes directly. Never ever do that. When you're solving MCQ, you should, when you're solving it for the first time or the second time, you should have a habit of solving 1 ka A, 2 ka B, 3 ka C, 4 ka D. And then you verify the answers. In case if it is wrong, I will write the correct answer. And then I will check the reason why it was wrong. So why we should not tick? I'll tell you why. See, today you are studying with me for the first time. We have just did the concept. You will be able to answer. But now when you are revising maybe second time or third time at your home, okay, when you're revising it out, at that time, you would not use your brain because MCQs are already tick. Some students have a habit of doing it with pencil and then erasing it. Why are you wasting your time in erasing? There would be slightest mark of the pencil on the answer and you will not use your brain at that time. See, our strategy is to get right answer in the paper. Assuming if same question comes in the paper, you would be not using your brain because you have not solved it. So my advice to each one of you would be, whenever you are solving MCQ in either of the paper, have a habit of writing and solving rather than ticking. When to do the tick marks? At the time of your last revision, when you do it just before the exam time. The last revision at that time, your majority answers should be correct. I would say all the answers should be correct, not majority also. That time, my answer should be right. Understood the concept? Now, so today, we start with a topic called as audit of consolidated financial statements. Audit of consolidated financial statement. We call it also as CFS. In FR, everyone must have done thoroughly. Very important topic, 16 mark topic. So in accounts, you have studied the accounting part of CFS. Here in audit, we'll be studying the perspective of auditor. In case where auditor is auditing the financial statements of a holding or subsidiary, what should be his approach? What step he should follow? What audit procedure he should follow? What things he should check? How he should report? Everything here we'll be studying in this chapter. Little bit of help would be required from your accounts part, from your FR part. I presume you know little bit of your CFS. Now, the first question arises, sir, what is a holding and what is a subsidiary company? Now, as per the Companies Act definition, all the definitions fall in section number 2. Okay? What is a holding and subsidiary company? Let's take an example. My company is AB Limited and my wife's company is Baby Limited. Yeah, I have a wife. My company has invested minimum 51% of paid up equity share capital of Baby Limited. Paid up equity share capital of Baby Limited. So I am holding Baby. I would be called as holding company. Baby is getting scared. Baby डर रही है. So baby would be called as सबसे डरी हुई company. That's the first way when you buy shares of another company. When you take shareholding in another company, that's the way you become holding and subsidiary. The second way is, if my company or my company's directors are appointing more than half of board of directors of Baby Limited. My directors are telling to the directors of Baby Limited, directors, chalo utho, chalo baitho, leto, nacho. So every instruction is given by the directors of AB Limited. Still, AB would be called as holding company and Baby would be called as subsidiary company. So these are the two ways you become holding and subsidiary. One, by the pattern of shareholding. Two, by appointing or controlling the composition of board of directors. That is why you become holding and subsidiary. Now, when AB Limited will prepare its own financial statements, that is called as standalone financial statements, SFS, standalone financial statement. Same way, when Baby would be preparing her own financial statement, that we would be calling as SFS, standalone financial statements. That means separate accounts are called as standalone financial statement. But बच्चा जानता है AB and Baby का मिलन होगा. AB and Baby will get together. They are in deep love. तो दोनों का जब वो मिलन होगा, क्या बनेगा फिर वहां पर? Consolidated financial statement. When AB and Baby will come together, there would be consolidated financial statement. Now the question arises here is, sir, who will prepare the consolidated financial statement? Who will prepare? So you guys have to answer. Who will prepare? Sir, holding company. So AB Limited's management, that means holding company's management, is responsible for the preparation of consolidated financial statements. AB Limited's management, that is holding company's management, is responsible for the preparation of CFS. Understood? Now, understand? Point number 2. AB Limited has invested 51% in Baby Limited. And so now who's the holding? Who's the holding, guys? Sir, AB Limited. Who's the subsidiary? Sir, Baby Limited. Who will prepare CFS? Sir, AB Limited. Because holding company is responsible for preparation of CFS. Okay. Now, in case of Santa Limited have appointed more than half of board of directors of Baby Limited. Now, Santa would be holding and Baby would be subsidiary. So assuming AB is not there, assuming AB Limited is not there, only Santa and Baby is there. So Santa is the holding company and Baby is a subsidiary company. Who will prepare the CFS? Sir, Santa Limited will prepare. Understood this much? Because in the definition, more than half of the board of directors are controlled by the one company. That main company would be called as a holding company and the other would be called as a subsidiary company. But the question arises here is, so what if this is a situation? AB has invested 51% and Santa has controlled more than half of the board of directors. So sir, question arises here is, who will prepare CFS? AB or Santa or Baby or both or none? Who will prepare the CFS? Tell me, guys, tell me. Who will prepare the CFS? Correct. In this scenario, both the companies will prepare CFS. Both the companies will prepare CFS. both the companies will prepare CFS. Understood this much? Now, so that means if you have a subsidiary or if you have an associate or if you have a joint venture, if you have a subsidiary or if you have a subsidiary or associates or joint venture, you have to prepare consolidation. In my language, मेरा बच्चा किधर भी हो, मेरा बच्चा किधर भी हो, कैसा भी हो, देश में हो, विदेश में हो, पूरा बच्चा हो, आधा बच्चा हो, नाजायज बच्चा हो, कौनसो तो करना ही है, कौनसो तो करना ही है. Now what do you mean by बच्चा? Subsidiary. पूरा बच्चा wholly owned subsidiary. छोटा बच्चा associate. You become associate at 20%. Associate at 20%. नाजायज बच्चा joint venture. देश वाला बच्चा इंडियन सब्सिडरी, इंडियन एसोसिएट, इंडियन जॉइंट वेंचर. विदेश वाला बच्चा फॉरेन सब्सिडरी, फॉरेन एसोसिएट, फॉरेन जॉइंट वेंचर. ठीक है. सो आपका बच्चा किधर भी हो, कैसा भी हो, आपको तो कौन सो करना ही है. सो एज पर सेक्शन 129, as per section 129 of Companies Act 2013. As per section 129 of Companies Act 2013, every company who has subsidiary or associates or joint venture has to prepare CFS. This is written in section number 129. This is written in section number 129. Understood this much? So in simple words, as per section 129 of Companies Act, the auditor has to see that company has prepared CFS or not. Always remember, to prepare CFS is the responsibility of the management of the parent company. Now in this chapter, instead of holding company, we would be calling them as parent company. Instead of subsidiaries, associate, joint venture, the word which is used in this chapter is called as components. All these people would be called as components. So whether you have Indian component or foreign component, you have to prepare CFS. The parent company's management has to prepare CFS. Understood? Now, in case guys you are old syllabus, you will say the auditor has to check accounting standard 21, 23, 27 for the preparation of CFS, that the company has complied with AS 21, 23, 27. AS 21, 23, 27. Okay. Now, when you talk about exemption from preparation of CFS. So, as per AS, I'm first teaching right now for old. Okay. As per AS, there are only two exemptions. Number one, in case of temporary holding. Number two, restriction on economic benefit remittance. Restriction on the remittance of economic benefits. Now understand with an example. So on 26th March, we have acquired 55% of Baby Limited. 55% of Baby Limited. Now that company became my subsidiary. Correct? That company became my subsidiary. I became the holding company. So on 31st March, my accountant will console it. But when we have acquired it, we were of the view that in April 1st week, the price of this company will get rise and we will sell it off. Our intention was very clear when we had acquired the company that we will be disposing it off in near future. We will be selling it off in the near future. My intentions were very clear. Now when my intentions were very clear, that means you have taken that company, acquired that company for temporary holding. Just because 31st March came in between and your stake is like more than 51% in case of subsidiary, section 129 says, boss, you have to prepare consolidation because it's your subsidiary. But our AS says, boss, you are exempted. Why? Because it was a temporary holding. Understood this much? Number two, restriction on remittance of economic benefit. For example, my one subsidiary is in Pakistan. Yeah. Coincidentally, इंडिया पाकिस्तान का वॉर शुरू हो गया. वॉर. पाकिस्तान एग्जाम्पल. पाकिस्तान became the enemy company, I mean enemy nation. And guys, you know it. जो देश का दुश्मन वो अपना दुश्मन. That means that subsidiary has become the enemy company now. That subsidiary cannot remit the economic benefits, whatever profit they would be earning. 51% is of the Indian company, Indian holding company. So they would not be able to send it. So boss, RAS gives us exemption. Boss, temporary holding and restriction on economic benefit. Understood? So this was the exemption given in AS. But now, Ind AS is applicable to us. So sir, what about Ind AS? So auditor has to check the compliance with Ind AS 110. Ind AS 110 does not talk about any exemptions. Does not talk about any exemptions. Except one. You know it. Investment entity. Investment entity. For example, our company is AB Limited. Our main business is to invest in other companies. So for example, in Baby Limited, I have invested 55%. In Santa Limited, I have invested 52%. In Banta Limited, I have invested, let us assume, 28%. In Katrina Limited, I have invested, let us assume, 60%. And then in Santa has also invested, let us assume 51% in Tanta Limited. Correct? So Tanta ka accounts will go in Santa ka account will go in AB. But our business is basically to invest. We are an investment entity. So now when you are investment entity, that means your 50%, your more than 50% of the assets are your investment assets. That means you have invested in other companies, or your total income, let's say minimum 50% you are earning through investment. So you are an investment entity. So boss, you are exempted. Investment entity, if you are an investment entity, you are exempted from preparing CFS as per Ind AS 110. You are exempted. This much is clear. But in case if there is a holding company, assume Mummy Limited. Mummy Limited is sabka holding, right? So boss, Mummy Limited will prepare CFS. Understood this much? So it says AB Limited, if you are an investment entity and you have invested in other companies and that has become your subsidiary or associates or joint venture, so AB Limited you are exempt. From preparation of CFS. But your holding company will prepare CFS. Your holding company will prepare CFS. But in case if your holding company also want exemption, so it says here, the holding company will prepare CFS unless it is also an investment entity. That means if holding company ka business is also to invest, at that time they will not prepare CFS because it's an investment entity. Understood this much? This is written in Ind AS 110. So sir, if Ind AS 110 is not applicable to all these cases, then which Ind AS will be applicable? You know it, guys. Ind AS 109, it will be routed through P&L, profit and loss, selling and buying of the investment. That is, it will be routed through Ind AS 109. Understood that much? Now, so we have done the exemption from AS. We have done the exemption from Ind AS. Right now in our exam, Ind AS exemptions are very important. Okay? They have already asked in the exam. Point number 6. Exemption from CFS. Exemption from CFS under Companies Act. Exemption from CFS under Companies Act. Exemption from CFS under Companies Act. Now let us assume A is there. Oops, sorry. A is there, B is there, C is there. A has invested 100% in B. Who is the holding? Sir, A Limited. Who will prepare conso? Sir, A Limited. Assume 51% he has invested. A Limited is a holding. A Limited will prepare the CFS. Assuming A is not there. Okay? Assuming A is not there. ठीक है, A वाला part is not there. I cannot hide it right now, but just understand कि A is not there. Only B and C is there. B has invested 51% in C. So who is the holding? Sir, B Limited. Who is the subsidiary? C Limited. Who will prepare CFS? Sir, B Limited. This much is clear. So if A and B is there, only A and B is there, so A will prepare CFS. If B and C is there, so B will prepare the CFS. What if? This is the entire chart. This is the entire chart. What if this is the entire chart? Who will prepare CFS? Sir, A. C ka accounts will go in B and B ka accounts will go in A. That means who will prepare CFS? A is preparing CFS. That means who is not preparing CFS? Who is not preparing CFS? Sir, B is not preparing CFS. That means exemption is given to B. B is getting exempted from preparing CFS, but B will get exemption only if it fulfills the three conditions. First, B Limited has obtained sorry, no objection from all the members or one member, that they don't have a problem if B is not consolidating C ka accounts. Now the question is, they will take no objection from all the members or one member, that they have no objection in B not consolidating C ka accounts. Sir, how it is possible for all members and one member? Use your logic. When will one member come? When will one member come? Arey bhai, no one person company. In this example, when will one member come? When it is 100% subsidiary. B ka 100% with A, right? So who is that member? Only one member, that is A. In that scenario, acha, when will all members come? When it is a 51% subsidiary. When it is a 51% subsidiary, so to the extent of 51% A is there, and balance 49 would be with different investors. So we will take NOC from all the members and one member, and B is not a listed company or not wanting to get listed. B is neither a listed company or not wanting to get listed. ना तो ये listed company ना उसकी इच्छा है list होने की, ठीक है? And its ultimate holding company. What will you say? Its ultimate holding company will prepare CFS. Its ultimate holding company will prepare CFS. Now when I say ultimate holding company, in my language, let us assume this is Dadaji. This is Papa. And this is Beta. If in our house Dadaji is there, he is the whole and sole responsible person. So for entire house, who is responsible person? Dadaji is there. So Dadaji will prepare CFS. That means who is exempted? Papa is exempted. Papa is exempted. But in case Dadaji is, my Dadaji is little Turkey. He is born and brought up in Bangkok. That means A Limited, the ultimate holding company, is incorporated in Bangkok. Wow. Yeah. That means Companies Act is not applicable to A Limited because it is a company which is outside India incorporated. Correct? Then the ultimate responsibility of preparing CFS would be on Papa. The house ka full responsibility on Papa. So in simple words, if ultimate holding company is preparing CFS, Papa is exempted. Papa is exempted. But if it is a foreign corporate, that means holding company is foreign, usko to Companies Act applicable nahi hai, then Papa has to prepare CFS. In case Papa wants exemption, 3 conditions. Number 1, no objection from all members or one member. And B is not a listed company not wanting to get listed, and its ultimate holding company prepare CFS. Its ultimate holding company prepare CFS. These are the conditions for exemption under Companies Act. So guys, we have done the exemption under AS, we did the exemption under Ind AS, we did the exemption under Companies Act also. So this was your intro topic on your CFS. I hope you have understood. For more details, we'll be doing it in the class. So guys, you have to subscribe to the channel of Unacademy CA Final for more updates, for more quick bites on the subject of audit and other subject also. Other teachers will also be joining it very soon, and they will be giving you quick bites on the topics. We'll be coming regularly, some live sessions, some recorded session. If you want to get access to the entire subject of audit, you have to subscribe to Unacademy, download the app and subscribe to a plan and use code ABHICA, ABHICA for discount. I hope I get to see you there on live session on the Educator Plus program of Unacademy. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel in case if you're watching it for the first time, because all other subjects would be coming of CA Final on this channel also, only on this channel. Amendments, live session, MCQ patterns, discussion on papers, everything would be on this channel. So don't forget to subscribe and this channel also, and download the app and subscribe to a plan also, so that you can get access to all the best educators. You can watch it anytime, anywhere, as per your wish. Okay guys, take care, enjoy.